We're gonna do something a little different here today. One of my favorite jobs to do when I'm TIG welding is to detail and finish some of my welding projects. What I've got here today is this cool variation of some tubing or pipe. It's kind of an oval shape, it's pretty unique, it's fun to work with. I've detailed each end, cleaned everything up nicely, and gotten it ready to weld. I put a nice bevel on each end. This is basic 6000 series aluminum. So what we're gonna do now here is get the Everlast machine set up to weld this one out. We're gonna TIG weld it, we're gonna finish it and detail it. We're gonna make this one look as good as we can.
All right, settings for this one are gonna be pretty simple. We'll be running on alternating current, obviously for aluminum. I'm gonna dial it back to probably about 160 amps. Again, I'm using the foot pedal, so I'll dictate how much of that I'm using with the foot pedal. For frequency, about 120 hertz. My balance is about 30% positive. Running about 5 seconds of post flow. Should be pretty close, let's go. Okay, so now that our piece has been cleaned with acetone, I'm gonna give it a good wire brush. Because I'm welding a gap, contamination is always something that will make this even trickier. Now that I'm comfortable and ready, I'll start by doing my first pass as a root pass. If you're not familiar with what a root pass is, it's a small pass designed to penetrate but not completely fill up the joint. Now I'm going to use a small jig to position this piece so I can keep comfortable. See? Set and comfy. Let's keep welding. Now you can see here that the pass is being burned in but not totally filled up. Here's a close-up where you can see the weld penetrating pretty much fully, still leaving it slightly hollow. Just light touches with the filler rod, just enough to get through to the other side. Getting comfortable to do the other side now. This side is going to be even easier now that the piece is hot. And again, a good hot start, waiting to see my penetration connect on the inside. And again, you can see just light touches with the filler rod, just enough that it's getting through to penetrate, but still pretty hollow overall. Now running the other side, you can see the keyhole opening to the other side. Not enough filler here and it will burn through. So there's a look at the root passes now that they're done. Obviously they don't look great, but they did exactly what I needed them to. So this pass is going to be thrown down on a hot surface. So this pass just needs to be filled up enough so that when I grind it off later to finish or splice it, there's no low spots. So you can see I'm heating up and blending into the root pass as much as I can. This way I can eliminate any impurities or any stuff in between this pass and the root pass. I'm going to grind this off later, so not overfilling is definitely going to help save me some time later. Whether this is structural or a test I did back in school or getting certified, these joints are always fun because you can take your time with them. TIG joints like this are much more manageable and fun when they're broken down into a couple smaller steps. So here we can see the final result. It ain't that pretty, but it's perfect for what we need here. So let's get ready to grind it. First, I'm gonna hit it with a flap disc on an angle grinder. These pads eat the material up pretty quick, be careful. I've got my neon Heatwave Eye Protection. I'm gonna be able to see clearly and stay safe. So you'll notice that when I'm doing grinding on finished joints like this, I'm grinding with the top portion of the disc, not the sides. Using the side like this spot here is always more prone to digging into the material way too fast, leaving excessive grind marks or dish marks. This area up here, as long as you don't hit right on the top edge, you can avoid severe cuts or lines into the material and actually have a bit of a flat surface to work with. Also using this area on a lengthwise piece going across it like this, we're going to be able to keep the grain direction going lengthwise. So you can see I'm just trying to work the weld mostly, not the base material. I'm stopping as soon as I get the weld low enough. This is important not to overwork things at this point. Now, once I've got all my high spots taken down, I'm going to switch to a Scotch-Brite pad. These are a little finer, definitely going to help to blend out the surfaces a little bit better. Again, I'm working the same sweet spot around the top of the pad, not on the sides. I'm running back and forth to blend and get rid of all my grind marks with the flap wheel. Seeing me get the surface flat and get rid of the grind marks, watch what I do here. See how now I switch to the side of the pad, changing the direction of my grind marks? Now they're going across the surface, not lengthwise. Now that I've got grind marks going this way, you can see the light actually now reflects and gives me straight lines. This is basically a ruler that I've made for myself. If I have any digs or low spots, this light reflection is not going to be straight like this here. See? See the uneven spot? When you've got a good blend and no grinding digs or low spots, this line is always going to be straight, see? Grinding the surface down lengthwise will spread the grind surface out better and prevent it from digging in too much. And then switching direction will help me eyeball to see how straight I've gotten things. Running my hand over it, you can usually feel if you got it done smoothly. I always like to finish the surface off with an orbital because it's a really flat surface to work with. This is 220 grit. Keeping it flat as possible, it will usually show you right away if you've got any low spots or grind marks still to take care of. All right, next step, I'm gonna use a Scotch-Brite hand pad. I'm gonna pick a grain direction. On this one, I'm going lengthwise with it to simulate the natural grain of the material. It's not too much work to get it to look somewhat uniform, and there you go. We can see a slight mismatch of the alloys from filler to base material, but it's pretty close. And if you were to paint it, you would have a tough time finding the splice. And that's how I grind and finish.